It's official. The pro has told me I need to cut the intro song by about 95%. And I'm going to listen. So the intro song is no more, except for about 5 seconds, you said, right?
Yes, I came here to dispense wisdom. And
Okay.
I've already started. So.
Yeah. Well, you are the pro. You're the superhero here, Andrea.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. How's everything?
Everything is pretty awesome today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always got a lot going on.
I always have a lot going on. Today is no exception, but I'm glad we could be here together.
Yes.
Share some time together.
Yes.
Relax, chill.
Definitely.
Tell stories.
Yeah. Are you still doing decaf coffee?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like it when my heart feels like it's going to explode. That's a downer for me. Other people are into that. Me, not so much. So I like to keep the heartbeats at a little low rate per minute.
Yeah.
So my chest doesn't explode.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Is it all coffee, or can you have like a little bit?
I have a cup of green tea for breakfast every morning, and that's as much caffeine as I can handle without just, bursting into a cloud of ravens and flying away. So nobody wants that.
No, that sounds peaceful. I haven't had green tea in a long time, but I just stay away from caffeine altogether if I can.
Yeah, thank you for not caffeine shaming me, because most people, when they hear about the decaf, they're like, what is wrong with you? What's the point? And it's like, we're all on our own journey, man.
Yeah, mind your own business. How about that? Don't worry about your heart exploding.
Yes.
I know that you have a story that I don't know much about.
Yes.
And I do want to get into all of your superhero abilities, but I guess we'll do that near the end of our conversation.
Okay, we can do that.
And we'll get right into this fun story that you have.
Okay, great. So I just want to, like I said, I'm here to dispense wisdom.
Yeah.
And so I just want to reach out there to the youngins, boys and girls. The moral of this story is don't start drinking until you've had something to eat. Okay? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, I do. And the wild thing is, for me, there was a long time where I stopped eating, basically, and I just kept drinking.
That's not good.
But I built up an intense tolerance because of that. Not that I condone that.
Sure.
But yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, I like to refer to this as the dude where's my car story because it involves, I knew where the car was. I just didn't know how to get into it. So here's what happened. My buddy Matt and I were going down to 4th Street. A friend of ours was competing in some kind of like amateur competition at, I think, Oil Can Harry's or something like that. So we go down there and we're in the car, we're on the way down there, and I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot to eat anything. And I was like, well, I'm not that hungry anyway, no big deal, whatever. Mistake, rookie mistake. I was the ripe old age of, I think, like 21 years old. I had the ability to drink legally for, all of 14 seconds. As you will see throughout this story, I was a young, inexperienced person that had to learn her lesson the hard way. And this is a hard way to learn this lesson, guys. So trying to help you out. So we get down there, we go watch our friend, and, we have a drink or two at that bar. Competition wraps up, and we go meet some other friends at a different bar. And these are all, like, we all work together in the same place. So these are all work friends that are together. So the important thing is when we get to the second bar, he and I get separated. We're talking to 2 different groups of friends. So we don't see what each other is up to. This will become important later. So someone has the bright idea to give me a couple of tequila shots. And I, being a young idiot, don't know that that's a bad idea. So I said, sure, tequila shots. Sounds great. Let's go. So I have a couple tequila shots on top of the other drinks that I had earlier. Just no protein in my stomach at all. No anything in my stomach at all, except for just, alcohol at this point. Meanwhile, across the bar, my buddy Matt is having his own little adventure. He also has engaged in some tequila shots and pretty quickly gets to the point where he falls into a glass coffee table and almost shatters it. Now, I don't see that because I'm over at the other end of the bar making my own bad decisions, right? So we don't know that each other is, we've left the plane of sanity. You know, we both think that the other one is still on there as a backup. Neither one of us is. We have become untethered. So anyways, we're drinking there for a while. And then I'm like, all right, probably should go home. At this point, it's pretty late. And so we go back to my car, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm about to drive us because, again, just young, stupid, don't know anything.
Yeah.
And then as I'm like getting the car keys out, I'm like, uh-oh. And then I go over and puke in the gutter like the classy bitch that I am. And my buddy Matt is like, don't worry, I'll drive. And me, having missed the whole coffee table incident and not seeing how many tequila shots he had had while I was having mine, I was like, that sounds like a great idea. So I unlock the car, and sometime between unlocking the car and entering the car, the keys disappear. I can only assume that the choir of guardian angels above my head was like, oh no, and just yoinked those bitches and took them somewhere else. They had been relocated to some other astral plane. And so it was like, we get in the car, and it's like, okay, where are the car keys? And this is back in the day where you had to like stick the car key into the slot and turn it, you know, in one of these remote things like we have now. So, you know, we cannot find them. So we're looking all in the car. I'm looking in, you know, the freshly puked upon gutter. It's not there. Just a wave of classiness, you know, rolling into a storm drain. So, you know, we're like, okay, what do we do now? And it's like, well, I don't think this is a problem we're going to solve tonight for all kinds of reasons. There was enough of a bulb going on in my brain to figure that part out.
Yeah.
So I lock the car from the inside and close the doors, and we're like, all right, on to plan B. So we walked down to the bitter end, which is not there anymore, but it was a bar that was there. And we're standing out in front of there, and he's like, I'm going to have my roommate come and get us. I'm like, all right. And so he has a cell phone, and he calls his roommate, and he says, hey, man, come get us. And roommate, to his credit, patient man, was like, sure, I can do that. Where you at? And he's like, we're in front of the bar, man. Come on, come get us. And I, while this is going on, am hugging a potted plant and puking into it. And the roommate is trying to figure out where the fuck we are so he can come and get us. And my buddy is just like, can barely say any words at this point, much less like figure out directions. And so he's like, oh no, man, where are we? You know, so he starts looking around, and you know, I'm trying to be helpful. I can see that there's an issue. I can see that he needs more instructions from us, right, than what he is getting. So I very helpfully say, tell him we're next to the plant.
Beautiful.
Which plant? The plant I'm puking into, idiot. Come here. Come get us. Like, what? How many more details do you need? You know? So eventually, I don't know how he finds his way to us based on zero information, but I guess at one point we must have given him some information that led him to us. So he picks us up and he drives me home, and then heads home with my friend. And according to him, when my friend got back to their place, he was hungry because he apparently hadn't eaten very much either. We both made the same goddamn rookie mistake.
You didn't think to grab like some lunch or dinner before you went out?
I mean, I had lunch that day, but I didn't have any dinner. I wasn't hungry. And then pretty soon my belly was full of alcohol,
yeah.
so there wasn't room
Yeah.
for any food. So dumb. Children, don't do this. So anyways, they get back to their house, and my buddy decides to open up a can of chili, pour it in a saucepan, and put it on the stove. It's like, okay. And he leaves it there for a grand total of like 20 seconds. And then he takes it off and starts putting it in a bowl. And his roommate's like, hey, buddy, you want to heat that up a little bit longer? And he goes, fuck you. And he just starts eating some cold chili out of a can that's barely been eaten. So that wasn't good.
No.
So anyways.
Did he end up in a plant afterwards? Because
he didn't have a good night. I wouldn't say any of us had a good. Well, the first part of the night was pretty cool, and then pretty quickly the wheels came off.
yeah, because you had tequila.
Yeah,
I don't do tequila.
I don't.
Yeah.
I can have it mixed in something, but I cannot have a straight shot of alcohol because in about 10 minutes later you're going to see it again.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be mixed with some other stuff. It's going to be a brand new cocktail, but not the kind you want. So anyway, next morning. It's like, okay, my car is still downtown. I don't know how to get into it. So let's round up. Let's figure this out. So Matt comes and gets me, and then we start telling each other the part that we missed when we were separated at the second bar. And I was like, oh shit, it's probably really good that we don't know where those keys are because that would have been bad.
Yeah.
So then we go to the car. It's like, okay, let's start there. Let's see if with daylight, maybe we can see something. And we look all around and we still can't see anything. And it's like, okay, now what do we do? So we go to the place where we work. We both had the day off. Thank God. Can't imagine us functioning as humans under these circumstances. So we go there and we see our friends and we're like, hey, we're trying to figure out what to do. Anybody have any ideas? And they're like, yeah, but first of all, like, you guys were messed up last night. And we're like, really? Like, what was happening? And so they start like filling in pieces of the story that like we didn't remember. And, you know, we went to a couple different places, like trying to figure this out. You know, it was like, oh, hey, this one guy has a thing that might help you like get into the car, like a Slim Jim type thing. We don't know why he has that. We don't want to ask too many questions. We're just glad of the help. You know, so we go to that guy and he's like, dude, last night, like, what was up with you guys? And we're like, we don't know. We don't know. I wish we knew what happened last night. Neither of us has any idea what happened. So we go back to the car and we start trying to like open the door and that still doesn't work. And then somebody else is like, well, you're going to have to go to the car dealership and like get them to figure this out. All right. So we drive to the car dealership and eventually we get in to the car and drive it home. But I'm just so glad that those keys disappeared. And it turns out that they were on the floorboard of the car, like just under some stuff. And I don't know how we lost them. So, I mean, it really was, we opened the door and we got in and keys gone. Like it was that fast. And, you know, we didn't have the phones with flashlights back then, you know, so we couldn't, there wasn't enough light to see.
Yeah, there was a lighter possibly, but that was about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That was it.
So yeah, that was our crazy story. That was I have since gotten a lot better at giving people directions. You know, I know now when I'm giving someone directions to give them like a street intersection and not a specific type of plant. That's the thing I learned. I learned the thing about you got to eat before you drink, or at least at the same time. You know, God, if I had just had a snack somewhere along the way, I might have been okay. Maybe, probably not, because it's tequila shots and those are just bad universally, just always a bad idea. But, you know, it was an educational evening. I learned a lot, and I hope that everyone else out there can learn from my experience and avoid too many tequila shots, eating without drinking, cold chili, knowing why your friend has a Slim Jim in his car, don't ask. You don't want to know. You don't want to know the answer to that question. There's just a lot of life lessons sometimes that we can get from going out and having these boozy nights. So have you learned I'm sure you've learned some really educational things along the way.
Absolutely. I think it's cool that you learned it at that age though. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It wasn't like 26, 27 where it's like, do I really need to still be doing this?
Right.
Like you learned it early enough to where it's like, I don't want to fuck that up again. You know what I mean? Like that could have been really bad.
Yes, that could have been disastrous for us and everybody else that we came across.
Yeah.
And several more plants if I had found any.
How old was Matt at the time?
Matt was a few years older than me,
Okay.
so he probably should have known better out of the two of us.
It just seemed like he was older. That the coffee table thing, that just seems like an older person move. Just not 21.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But
He was having a little trouble staying upright.
yeah. Do you remember how many tequila shots you might have had?
I think it was like 3.
Okay.
And it wasn't in like a long time period.
Yeah.
I think that was like 3 in 1 hour. And I mean, I'm an experienced drinker now, right? My liver has had a lot of time to kind of, tone up, and it's got little liver biceps, if you looked at my liver on like a ultrasound or something, you'd be like, boom, 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 welcome to the gun show, right? But I think even now, if you gave me tequila shots 3 in a row over the course of an hour now, I wouldn't make it to the third one, honestly. I doubt I'd make it to the second one. It would it would be over.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there for sure. I mean, I've made it through, but I prefer not to.
Yeah.
There's just
not pretty.
If it's not that night, it's the next day, and it's just not okay.
Yeah.
There's like this slice right here, and I still feel it to this day.
Yeah.
From those experiences. It's not fun. The only other question I have about that is, what kind of car was it?
It was let's see, I want to say it was like a 1995 Toyota Corolla.
Okay. You couldn't get in with a Slim Jim?
Well, we did not have a lot of Slim Jim experience because we don't, boost cars.
Yeah. But your buddy, was your buddy the one that tried to get in there?
No, he was working. So when we went to our workplace, he was there and he's like, all right, I got to go take a delivery, try this, kind of a thing.
Got it. So he kind of left us to our own devices, and perhaps if he had been there, we would have had better luck. But I still don't know why he had that. I mean, it doesn't do you any good when it's inside of your car, unless you're trying to boost another car, right? Like, how does that work? It doesn't make sense. Well, just we can look at the court records and see if he's.
We don't want to know. We don't want to. That's information that we don't need to have. That's a need to know information.
Got it. Well, I hope. Slim Jim Rick was what we'll call him.
Yes.
I hope he's doing okay.
I'm sure he is.
So since then, you've had quite an adventure, I feel like.
Yeah.
You do some pretty cool stuff now.
Well, thank you for saying so.
Yeah.
Right back at you. So now I have a YouTube channel called Phoenix News Network. That's Phenix, so the Spanish spelling of that word. And we do like a comedy news show. So if you like The Daily Show or Weekend Update or like, late night monologues, that's the kind of stuff that we do. So obviously right now in the world of politics, there's a lot to make fun of. So much material to work with. Where do you even start? Marjorie Taylor Greene alone she could be a whole show. Every 10 minutes, she's up to something that she's a rascal, that one. So anyways, we do news comedy about politics and, some other kind of weird news stories going on in the world. And we do a podcast on Wednesdays. So I do that with a British comedian. It's called A Very Special Relationship, and it's about kind of the state of politics in both of our countries. Spoiler alert, it's fucked up over there too. They are also having some problems. So
It just seems like it's always here, and then you hear something like that.
yeah, yeah. I think the rest of the world looks at America these days and they're like, what are you even doing? And we're like, we know. But then they'll be like, but also this shit over here is bonkers. And it's like, oh, okay. So, we have so much in common as global citizens. All of our governments are fucking things up in new and exciting ways. And so we all have that to bind us together.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do the podcast on Wednesdays. We do our regular show on Fridays, and that's a lot of fun. And if you guys would rather laugh than cry about the news, check us out on YouTube, and it's a fun time.
Awesome. And you started doing this. You started cooking this up like right before COVID?
Yeah. So I used to do marketing for tech companies for like a little over a decade. And then I was like, I'm going to start a production company and I'm going to make television. And I quit my 6-figure job with the incredible guys. I can't begin to tell you how incredible this health insurance was. Oh, I mean, it paid for everything. And so I just flipped over that table and walked out because I was done and I was going to make my own way. And I started, pitching TV shows to networks and, was going through that process. And then we had, an eensy-weensy little global pandemic popped up on the radar and shut all the television production down, so you couldn't make anything really unless you were doing like, Zoom stuff. So I went back to kind of doing some marketing consulting for a while. I had my kids there. So picture like you're in a room and you're trying to get work done and you have 2 little people and they're also trying to get work done and they're completely dependent upon you for everything. And they're there all day, every day, because they can't go anywhere else and neither can you. You're all just there. And then when you go on your like shitty little mental health walk for the day where you have to like take both the kids and the dog, and you're just together all the time. And these are, my 2 favorite people on the planet. I love them dearly. I would take a bullet for them, no problem. But I was just like, oh, this is a lot of time to spend together. Mm-hmm. A lot of time to spend together. And so we were getting to the point in the pandemic where it was like, okay, I feel safe sending them back to school, like with a mask on. So we're going to do that. So the week of my 40th birthday, they were supposed to go back to school. I was supposed to get some breathing room and it was all going to start getting just a little bit better. We're going to start going back to normal. And then, do you remember Icepocalypse?
Of course.
Where we had like 6 inches of snow?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we didn't know what to do. We were like, what is this substance? How do we deal? And then we didn't have like water for 5 days. That was that week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that week, which, was pretty bad because I was like light at the end of the tunnel and it wasn't a light. It was a train. Big fucking train, right? Mowed over all of us. So we got through that, got them shipped back off to school, and I was like, holy shit, that whole period of my life was a fucking lot. And I was like, you know what? I need a project that's like just for me, just something that I can do for fun to just sort of regroup. And while I had been home with the kids during the pandemic, I had made a few videos about just how ludicrous it was that we were expected to just like be a school now. And it was called Homeschool Montessori Academy. And it was about like, just the absurdity of trying to be a teacher to your kids on a dime all of a sudden one day, which is stupid, Like, I don't have teaching skills except for when I teach people to eat before they drink.
Yeah.
That's what I know.
And intro songs, and to shorten the fuck out of intro songs.
Exactly. Those are the two things that I know. After that, don't get me started on math, right?
You're great at it, though. You're great at it.
Thank you. So anyway, I had done these videos, and they had, kind of taken off. They had gotten like tens of thousands of views. And so I decided that's what I was going to do after I got my kids back in school and had a little time to kind of think for the first time in a year. I was like, okay, I'm going to, I've always wanted to be a writer for The Daily Show. And I was like, I don't need their permission. I can just make my own thing. Like, I got cameras, I got microphones. Like, I own a fucking production company. This is what I do. So I started doing that, and it just kind of like took on a life of its own after a while. And it became not so much like a fun hobby as like this is like the thing I'm doing now, and this is the thing that like helps me process all the news in the world, because as you may have noticed, the world, it cray, it's too much. It's too much right now. So we try to help people digest the news with some fun so that they can actually know what's going on in the world, but not be sort of ground to dust by it.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of our goal. And this year we started a campaign called the Emotional Support News Network. And basically what we decided was, okay, we want to just go beyond like the comedy. How can we help people like just be okay, right? And so one of the things that we're doing right now is we're recording a lot of like cocktail recipe videos, which is how you and I got together by, talking about booze.
Yes.
And talking with people who do booze. So I think Molly has been one of your podcast guests, or she's going to be.
She will be, but shout out to Molly and the Wild Gins.
Yes.
The whole delicious Wild Gins situation.
We love those guys.
Yes.
So yeah, we met over that, and what we're trying to do. People need a drink right now, right? You spend a lot of time at the bar, and people need a drink right now, right?
Oh yeah.
Do you have people coming in just like, man, I need a drink?
Yeah.
Like not like, hey, can I have a drink? But like, I need a drink. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more of that these days, right?
Yes.
I'm sure you can attest.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give people that. We're doing like some fun animal videos of just like, hey, if you're stressed out about, the election or the latest poll numbers, just here, baby kittens, watch baby kittens, like just do that for a minute, just chill out, So we're trying to do some things like that at our channel just to help bring the joy, bring the coping mechanisms, whatever's going to get us through all this together. That's what we're about.
No, I love it. I think it's super cool. And it seems like there's going to be something for everybody one way or another.
Most people, I will say that if you are like a diehard Trump fan that just, you have the hat and everything, if you've invested in Truth Social, first of all, if you've invested in Truth Social, you're having a rough week, and I'm sorry, because that shit's not going well. But those people probably not going to be into my channel. But anybody like, a good old fashioned fiscal conservative, we love you at our channel. Come on over, just anybody who, farm subsidy people, come on over. We love you. Yeah. Anybody, it's a big tent over at our channel, unless you're a really big fan of one particular person, in which case we're probably not going to work for you.
Right. You work with the British guy.
Yeah.
But he lives over there, right?
Yeah.
So before we wrap this up, how does that work as far as time goes? Like, what time do y'all pick to, because there's a time difference.
Yeah, big time difference. So we have to do it morning here, afternoon there.
Okay.
So that's when we tape it. And then luckily, since it's morning here, I can edit it really quickly and then get it out the same day. But usually,
lucky you.
I know.
Gosh.
Well, he makes it easy, like we come in and we do it, and it's, I might have to edit out a couple little things here and there, but mostly it's pretty good to go by the time I get it out, get the files going. So it's been really nice. It's nice to hear the perspective from somewhere else, because you kind of hear a story every once in a while, like, oh, Liz Truss, like she's crazy, like what's the deal with Liz Truss, and he can actually explain, like, yeah, here's the deal with Liz Truss. She tanked our economy. She was the prime minister for 40 days.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we changed presidents every 40 days? Just how...
At this point, I could, actually.
I know we have, maybe we should. I don't know. This isn't working.
No, not at all. Well, it's been fantastic having you on here.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun.
I do hope that you come back. Even if you don't want to tell or don't have another wild story, we can still have you on and maybe as a co-host and do some fun stuff that way.
I would love to do that. If you guys need news updates, I can give you some news updates. I do have more drunk crazy stories, so I'll have to think about which one to bring next time.
That's awesome. Do you want to tell the listeners one more time where they can find you on YouTube?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is at Phoenix News Network, and that's spelled Phenix News Network, all one word.
Awesome. You've been fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, cheers.